Good afternoon, children. How are you? Fine. Okay. How was your exam? Was it easy or difficult? I think all are done very well. Is it clear? Okay. Anyway, next we are going to start our next lesson, that is lesson 2. First of all, I would like to invite our online class. Are you ready? Okay. Our lesson's name is Medieval India, Society, Resource and Trade. Our second lesson's name is Medieval India, Society, Resource and Trade. And from the first lesson we discussed and we studied about the medieval India, and also we studied about some dynasties and Sultanate period and Mughal period and southern and western India. Some kingdoms are there prevailed on that period. There are Chola dynasty, Chola kingdom, and Vijayanagara kingdom, Bahmani kingdom, and last one is Maratha kingdom. Okay, all are clear? That we already studied and learned very well, and our exam already finished. Next, we are going to start our second lesson about medieval India again. We are going to study about the medieval India. But one thing is that here we can explain about the society of the medieval India. Society, സമൂഹത്തെ കുറിച്ച് പഠിക്കുന്നു. And also resource means വിഭവങ്ങൾ. In the medieval period, what all resources are there. And next one is trade means വ്യാപാരം, കച്ചവടം. അതിനെ കുറിച്ചെല്ലാമാണ് ഈ ലെസണിൽ നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്. Are you ready? Okay. Before that, I am going to give you one slide. Listen, all of you read this slide. You read this slide. Hindustan is a wonderful land. Compared to other country, it is entirely different. The mountains, rivers, forests, and deserts here are unique. The animals, plants, people, languages, rain, and wind are all diverse. Babarnama. Okay, clear? From the first lesson, we learn about Babar. From the first lesson, we learn about Babar. Who was the Babar? Yes, Babar was the founder of Mughal Empire. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the Babarnama. Babarnama means the memoir of Babar. Babarinte memoir. Memoir means ഓർമ്മക്കുറിപ്പ്. നമുക്കറിയാം ബാബർ ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ഭരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യയെക്കുറിച്ച് അദ്ദേഹം ഒരുപാട് ഓർമ്മക്കുറിപ്പുകൾ അഥവാ ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങൾ എഴുതി. That memoir is known as Babarnama. From that Babarnama he wrote, just see again, look at this Babarnama. He wrote Hindustan is a wonderful land. Hindustan means India. So our India is a wonderful land because why? Compared to other countries, when we compare to other countries, Hindustan is a wonderful land. It is entirely different. Okay, and what for this Hindustan or India is an entirely different? So listen, the mountains, rivers, forests, and deserts all are unique, but at the same time, the animals, plants, people, languages, rain, and wind all are diverse. You know, so that's why we can say that India is a unity in diversity. Did you heard that word? Unity in diversity. Our India is a unity in diversity. Unity in diversity means what is the meaning of unity in diversity? നാനാത്വത്തിൽ ഏകത്വമുള്ള രാജ്യമാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യ. അത് തന്നെയാണ് നമ്മുടെ ബാബറും എഴുതിയത്. Okay, look at this picture. About Babar, you know that Babar's picture. Babar, he was the founder of Mughal Empire. Okay, so from the information from Babarnama, diversity and resources of India, we got some inscriptions or informations, diversity and resources of India. We got some informations about diversity and resources of India. This diversity and prosperity that attracted the foreign travelers to India during the Mughal period. So, you know, India is a diversity and resources, diversity and prosperity. Both are there in India. That's why the foreign travelers, so many foreign travelers came to India during the medieval period. Understood? ഒരുപാട് വിദേശികളായ സഞ്ചാരികൾ ഇന്ത്യയിലേക്ക് വന്നു. ആരൊക്കെയാണ് ഇന്ത്യയിലേക്ക് വന്ന വിദേശികളായ സഞ്ചാരികൾ? അവർ എന്തിനു വന്നു? അവർ എന്തെല്ലാമാണ് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ വന്നപ്പോൾ അവർക്കുണ്ടായ അനുഭവങ്ങൾ? അതെല്ലാം അവരുടെ ട്രാവലോഗ്സ് മീൻസ് അവർ യാത്ര ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ സഞ്ചാരികൾ യാത്ര ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഉണ്ടാവുന്ന അവർ എഴുതിയ ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളെയാണ് ട്രാവലോഗ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുക. അതിൽ അവർ എഴുതിയ കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ ലെസണിൽ പഠിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, from their travelogues we got socio-economic conditions of India of that period. We got some socio and economic conditions of India from where we can get from their travelogues. അവരുടെ സഞ്ചാര ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നുമാണ്, ഓർമ്മക്കുറിപ്പിൽ നിന്നുമാണ് നമുക്ക് ഇത്തരം അറിവുകൾ നമുക്ക് ലഭിക്കുന്നത്. Okay, next another look at this picture. Abu al-Biruni. Abu al-Biruni, he was a traveler who reached India from Central Asia. He was a traveler who reached India from Central Asia. Central Asiaയിൽ നിന്നും ഇന്ത്യയിലേക്ക് വന്ന ഒരു സഞ്ചാരിയായിരുന്നു അബു അൽ-ബിറൂണി. That means he came from Uzbekistan. ഉസ്ബെക്കിസ്ഥാനിൽ നിന്നുമാണ് അദ്ദേഹം വന്നത്. അദ്ദേഹം ഒരു യാത്രാ സഞ്ചാരിയായിരുന്നു. അദ്ദേഹം ഇന്ത്യയിലേക്ക് വന്നപ്പോൾ എന്തെല്ലാം അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് മനസ്സിലായി, അദ്ദേഹം എന്തെല്ലാം ഇന്ത്യയെ കുറിച്ച് എഴുതി. സോ ജസ്റ്റ് വാച്ച് ദിസ് സ്ലൈഡ്. Abu al-Biruni, he wrote about agriculture and artisanship. Agriculture and artisanship. For farming cereals and grazing cattle, land revenue and grazing tax were to be paid to the rulers. Similarly, tax was to be paid on income from trade. 1/6 of the income was to be spent for the protection of the country. Any idea about that? Any idea? Did you get any idea? Okay, Al-Biruni, he wrote for grazing, for farming cereals, grazing cattle, land revenue and grazing tax were to be paid to the rulers. Similarly, tax was to be paid in income from trade. 1/6 of the income was to be spent for the protection of the country. So he explained about what did he explain? What did he explain? He explained about what so many occupations are prevailed on that time. In the medieval period, a lot of occupations are prevailed on that time. Mainly, agriculture was the main occupation of that period. Okay, agriculture mainly the important occupation of that period in the medieval period. And not only agriculture but also metal works, pottery, weaving, handicrafts, all these types of occupations, these are the artisans. Artisans means കൈത്തൊഴിലുകൾ. അതെല്ലാം അന്നത്തെ കാലത്ത് നിലനിന്നിരുന്ന വർക്കുകളായിരുന്നു. Not only agriculture field but other people, they engaged in metal works. Metal works means ലോഹ നിർമ്മാണങ്ങൾ അവർ ഏർപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നു. And also pottery means പാത്ര നിർമ്മാണം. Then weaving നെയ്ത്ത് നിർമ്മാണത്തിൽ. And also handicrafts, കരകൗശല വസ്തുക്കൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന എല്ലാ വർക്കുകളും അവർ ചെയ്തിരുന്നു. And also agriculture was the chief occupation of the people. അവരുടെ പ്രധാന ജോലി എന്തായിരുന്നു? കൃഷിയായിരുന്നു. In which period? Medieval period, agriculture was the main occupation of the people. Okay, then which items they can cultivated? എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് അവർ അന്നത്തെ കാലത്ത് കൃഷി ചെയ്തിരുന്നത്? They can cultivated cotton, cereals. Did you heard that word cereals? Cereals means ധാന്യങ്ങൾ, like rice, wheat, bajra, ragi, etc. So that is known as cereals. Okay, cotton, cereals, pulses, indigo. What is indigo? It is a special type of plant that is used for dyeing clothes. വസ്ത്രങ്ങൾക്ക് കളർ കൊടുക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ചെടിയാണ് ഇൻഡിഗോ. ഓക്കെ, നീലം, മലയാളം മീനിങ് നീലം, വസ്ത്രങ്ങൾക്ക് കളർ കൊടുക്കാൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ചെടിയാണ് ഇൻഡിഗോ. So indigo they can cultivated and also sugarcane etc. were the major crops. These are the major crops in the period of Mughal period. Medieval India. Okay, which are the important major crops in the medieval India? They are cotton, cereals, pulses, indigo, sugarcane and etc. were the major crops. Okay, then there existed, and from Al-Biruni's report we can get there existed two types of revenues are there. രണ്ട് തരത്തിലുള്ള നികുതികൾ അന്ന് നിലനിന്നിരുന്നു. They are, first one is land revenue and another one is grazing tax. Grazing tax. Land revenue means ഭൂമിക്കരം, karam means nigudi, ഭൂമിക്കരം, and grazing tax means മേച്ചിൽക്കരം എന്ന പേരിലാണ് അറിയപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നത്. ഭൂമിക്കരം and മേച്ചിൽക്കരം, land revenue and grazing tax to be paid to the rulers. All people are to be paid these two types of tax, that is land revenue and grazing tax. Understood? Clear? And in the medieval period, two types of tax are to be paid to the rulers. They are land revenue and grazing tax. Clear? And next, in this period, there was plenty of cultivable land in India that was kept uncultivated. That is another feature that on that period, a lot of uncultivated land is there on that period. But some rulers, they decided and they give that land to the people for cultivating, and as a result that uncultivated land to be cultivated. അങ്ങനെ കൃഷിയോഗ്യമല്ലാത്ത സ്ഥലങ്ങൾ പിന്നീട് കൃഷിക്ക് വേണ്ടി ഈ റൂളേഴ്സ് അവർക്ക് കൃഷി ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി കൊടുത്തു. As a result, the medieval period that was well developed. Okay, most progress in agriculture field. That is the main reason. Okay, next one is, so those who first cultivated in such land were granted its ownership right. ആർക്കാണോ ആദ്യമായി കൃഷി ചെയ്യാൻ ഒരു സ്ഥലം കൊടുത്തത് ആ സ്ഥലം പിന്നീട് അവർക്ക് സ്വന്തമായി എടുക്കാം എന്നുള്ള ഒരു നിയമമായിരുന്നു അന്ന് നിലനിന്നിരുന്നത്. Those who first cultivated in such land were granted its ownership right. Clear? Okay, then next one. So as a result, the rulers give some steps to take to the people for the progress of agriculture. കൃഷിയുടെ വികാസത്തിന് വേണ്ടി, കൃഷിയുടെ ഉന്നമനത്തിന് വേണ്ടി ഈ റൂളേഴ്സ് സാധാരണ ജനങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരുപാട് നേട്ടങ്ങൾ, ഒരുപാട് ഗുണങ്ങൾ, ആനുകൂല്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്തിരുന്നു. What are the steps taken by the rulers for the progress of agriculture? കൃഷിയുടെ പുരോഗതിക്ക് വേണ്ടി റൂളേഴ്സ്, ഭരണാധികാരികൾ നൽകിയിരുന്ന സ്റ്റെപ്സുകൾ എന്തെല്ലാം? First one is they arranged irrigation facilities. അവർ കൃഷിക്ക് വേണ്ടതായിട്ടുള്ള ഇറിഗേഷൻ ഫെസിലിറ്റീസ്, അതായത് ജലസേചന സൗകര്യങ്ങൾ ഏർപ്പെടുത്തിയിരുന്നു. ലൈക്ക് വാട്ടർ വീൽ, they can distributed water wheel. Look at this picture. Water wheel. Water wheel. They used, they give this type of water wheel for the irrigation purpose. For arranged irrigation facilities, they used this type of water wheel. And next one is they supplied seeds. They supplied seeds. They give, the rulers give supplied seeds, good and they supplied good type of seeds they can supply. And next day they granted tax relaxation. Tax relaxation means നികുതി ഇളവുകൾ അവർ നൽകിയിരുന്നു. ഒരു പക്ഷേ കൃഷി ചെയ്താൽ മേ ബി നാച്ചുറൽ കലാമിറ്റീസ്, പ്രകൃതി ദുരന്തങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായാൽ, ലൈക്ക് ഫ്ലഡ്, എർത്ത്ക്വേക്ക് എക്സെട്ര, അങ്ങനെ സംഭവിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, കൃഷിയിൽ നിന്നും നാശം സംഭവിച്ചാൽ that time they didn't pay the tax. ആ സമയത്ത് ഈ കർഷകർ കൃഷിക്ക് ടാക്സ് നൽകേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ആനുകൂല്യം കൂടെ കർഷകർക്ക് റൂളേഴ്സ് നൽകിയിരുന്നു. That is known as granted tax relaxation. Understood? So what are the steps taken by the rulers for the progress of agriculture? They are, first one is arranged irrigation facilities, second one is supplied seeds, and third one is granted tax relaxation. Clear? Arranged irrigation facilities, supplied seeds, and next one is granted tax relaxation. നികുതിയിൽ ഇളവുകൾ നൽകിയിരുന്നു. Okay. That's why the farmers persuaded to work hard in their land. അതിന്റെ ഫലമായിട്ട് അവർ നല്ലപോലെ അവരുടെ സ്ഥലത്ത് കൃഷി ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി തുടങ്ങി. Okay. Then the another two things are there that is very important for you. You can study well. They are the Iqta and Jagirdari. Iqta and Jagirdari. IQTA, Iqta and Jagirdari. Both are variety name and not familiar to you. Okay. What is Iqta and what is Jagirdari? Okay. In the medieval period, the officers were given land as wages. In the medieval period, officers were given land as wages. You know, the officers are done their own works. As the officers are done their own works, as a result, they given land as wages. Like for example, like money, പണം പോലെയാണ് നമ്മൾ സാലറി കൊടുക്കുന്നതിന് പകരമായിട്ട് ഓഫീസേഴ്സിന് കൊടുത്തിരുന്നതായിരുന്നു എന്ത്, ലാൻഡ് ആയിരുന്നു അന്നത്തെ കാലത്ത് റൂളേഴ്സ് ഓഫീസേഴ്സിന് കൊടുത്തിരുന്നത്. എന്തിന്റെ പേരില്? ഇൻ ദ മിഡീവൽ പീരീഡ് ദ ഓഫീസേഴ്സ് വേർ ഗിവൺ ലാൻഡ് as wages. വേജിന് പകരമായിട്ട് ഓഫീസേഴ്സിന് അവരുടെ ജോലിയുടെ ഭാഗമായിട്ട് കൊടുത്തിരുന്നത് ലാൻഡ് ആയിരുന്നു. ലാൻഡ് മീൻസ് ഭൂമി കൊടുത്തിരുന്നു. So this system was known as Iqta during the Sultanate period. Sultanate period, this system is known as Iqta, and also same meaning officersന് കൊടുത്തിരുന്ന land മുഗൾ പീരീഡിന് that is known as Jagirdari. Okay. What is Iqta and Jagirdari? In the medieval period, the officers were given land as wages. This system was known as Iqta during the Sultanate period and Jagirdari during the medieval period. Okay, clear? And next one, so many works are there. Which are the works are existed on that time? And the works are metal works. Some people, almost all people are engaged in different works. Which are the works they are engaged? They are metal works, weapon making, tool making, textile making, pottery, etc. These are existed in that time or medieval period. Metal works means ലോഹ നിർമ്മാണം, and weapon making ആയുധങ്ങൾ നിർമ്മാണം, tool making, tool also ആയുധ നിർമ്മാണം, textile making തുണികൾ നിർമ്മിക്കുക, and pottery പാത്രങ്ങൾ നിർമ്മാണം, ഇതെല്ലാം അവർ ചെയ്തിരുന്നു. And at the same time in town area, what they are engaged in which items? In towns, weaving and handicrafts were the major occupations. So I already told you that almost all people are engaged in different jobs. In town area, weaving and handicrafts were the major occupations. Okay. In the urban area, they are engaged, most of the people are engaged in agriculture, but in the town area they are engaged in weaving, നെയ്ത്ത് നിർമ്മാണത്തിലായിരുന്നു അവർ ഏർപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നത്, and also handicrafts, കരകൗശല വസ്തുക്കൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നതിലും അവർ ഏർപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നു. Then cotton, indigo and silk were produced by the rural people and developed the textile industry. They produced cotton, indigo and silk. You know cotton, പരുത്തി, പഞ്ഞി. Okay. Then indigo means say a special type of plant that's for dyeing clothes, and also silk. All these items were produced by the rural people. All are produced by the rural people and developed to the textile industry. That were developed into the textile industry. Then the Indian weavers produced garments made of silk, cotton, wool. Indian weavers are engaged in garments, produced garments of made silk. Silk means എന്താ പറയാ, പരുത്തി വസ്ത്രങ്ങൾ, and cotton and wool, അങ്ങനെയുള്ള വസ്തുക്കളെല്ലാം അവർ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങി. For weaving, they used new tools like spinning wheel and looms. ഇത്തരം വീവിങ്ങിന് വേണ്ടി അവർ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരുന്ന ഒരു വസ്തുവാണ് spinning wheel. Look at this picture. Spinning wheel. spinning wheel they used. For weaving, they used new tools like a spinning wheel and looms. Okay. Indigo and color mixture were used for dyeing the textiles. Another special feature is that I already told you that they used indigo or they planted indigo. What for that use? Indigo and color mixture were used for dyeing textiles. Okay, so we can get all these from the traveler who reached from the Asian Central Asia from Uzbekistan. That traveler's name was Abu al-Biruni. And another traveler's name, another Italian traveler, his name was Niccolo Conti. Look at this picture, his name, his picture, Niccolo Conti. He was an Italian traveler. Niccolo Conti. He was an Italian traveler. He speaks about Vijayanagara region. He speaks about Vijayanagara region. Look at this slide about from Niccolo Conti. Towns and trade. Niccolo Conti, he wrote, the great town Vijayanagara is situated near steep mountain ranges. There are attractive gardens and groves in this town. The markets of these prosperous towns are full of costly goods. So he wrote about the Vijayanagara town, and he was an Italian traveler, and he wrote something: textiles, leather, gems, sandal, metals, pearls, ivory, etc. Or everything are demanded in foreign countries. That's why they attracted to India. All these items are produced in India. As a result, some foreigners attracted to India. How many foreigners came to India? Several foreigners or traders came to India in the medieval period. Who are they? They are Chinese, Arabs, Portuguese, Dutch, English, and French. These are the foreigners came to India. But for they came to India, they need these types of our products, our natural products. They need these items: leather, gems, sandals, metalworks, etc. Pearl means eknangal, muttugal, ivory, anakomb, all everything are get from here. So they came to India and demanded this. And next one is Calico and Calicut. Another topic is Calico and Calicut. Look at this slide. Cotton textiles were exported from Calicut. You know, cotton textiles were exported from Calicut. Calicut was the center of cotton textile. From Calicut, cotton textiles were exported. These textiles were known as Calico in the European market. Kozhikode, you know Kozhikode? Kozhikode was called Calicut by the Europeans. Firstly, Europeans called them Calicut, and that is later is known as Kozhikode. Okay, so okay, understood. So today we discussed about from this lesson. So many travelers came to India, and they from their travelogues they wrote something about the progress of India. So the main main travelers are firstly we studied or discussed about the Babar from his Babarnama, and something we studied, and next one Abu al-Biruni, and another person Abu al-Biruni came from Central Asia, from Uzbekistan, and he was a traveler. And another person, that Niccolo Conti, he was an Italian traveler. He wrote about mainly he wrote about the Vijayanagara region, and some things textiles, leather, gems, sandal, metals, pearls, ivory, etc. were the great demand in foreign countries. He wrote about them, and that's why they attracted to India. That's why foreigners came to India. And who are the foreigners came to India? Firstly came to India Chinese, then Arabs, another one Portuguese, then Dutch, then English, and lastly came to India French. Okay, clear? Okay, thank you.